All right, we're at day 2 of Fan Expo. I'm quite hungover. Yesterday we only managed to see the south building. There's a whole other building where that's the celebrities and horror and more vendors and stuff. So we're gonna check that out today. And what else do we have we're gonna do today?
There's the Jays game later, probably see some friends. Just vibing, man.
That Demogorgon's cool.
Mr. Joe Stribling. We've got Sinead Prasad. We've got Dom Farah. We've got Sammy Paul. And we have Gadget, last name I don't know, from Henry's. Gadget's great, we're working together for ages. All right, without further ado, take it away.
Amazing. Let's get everyone to sit closer. There's just like weird gaps. Just let's get cozy. Let's get cozy. All right, so cinematography on a shoestring budget. We're gonna talk about that today. Very quickly before we get started, I'd like to hear about a favorite project that you've brought to life, and we'll kind of use that to sort of start the conversation. Something that you've worked on that sort of embodies cinematography on a shoestring budget, but turned out like, you know, to your standard, to your expectations.
Oh God. I'm going to say some of the projects I've done projects more vloggy, you know, like more just on the fly. And yeah, those are a good example, I think.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Don, what about you? What's something that you worked on that really embodied that cinematography on a shoestring budget theme?
Pretty much everything most things I think that I make, it's a lot of just like you're not able to spend money, it would be out of pocket. There's been a few lovely times where you'll do like a crowdfunding thing and you get a little bit, and then you also realize immediately how quickly that disappears as soon as you start mainly just paying people for their time is the big thing, because that's the older we're all, you know, the older we're getting, the more stuff that everyone we work with works on. It just becomes like, well, then there's a bottom line of like, just if you're telling someone you that day or those 3 days, you can't be working on something else, you sort of have to, you know, it's everybody's job, and that's when it goes away quickly, and then you'll find that you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, like as far as like, okay, well, this person owns this light kit and this person has this camera, but they don't have the mount for the lenses we have, and then you're trying to pull it off from everybody. But yeah, I'm more and more, when I look back at the stuff I was making like in high school, there's a part of me that hates it, and it's very hard to look in the eyes. And then there's another part of me, sometimes I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, I need to get a little bit of that back in me, because like, I was just so unfazed by not having stuff and it not looking incredible, or it not looking like, you know, I guess at the time, Avatar. Is that a good? 2009, James Cameron?
Re-releasing this fall, folks. Get your tickets now. That brings a great question, but I want to hear Sinead and Joe talk about this as well.
Yeah, you definitely have when you don't have any money. But speaking of that, Joe and I made a series 6 years ago for a shoestring budget for what it was, and I thought that after COVID and everything, people would be like, oh, please use our set, here's a discount. No, everything went way up, people's rates were way up when I thought they would be lower. And so I think the show that we're premiering tonight is probably, although it had a budget, it still felt like a shoestring budget for us. And Joe was talking about the camera package that we got for it.
This is the first time I've ever worked with Panavision, and looking at our budget, I knew we can't afford to work with Panavision, but as you know, at a rental house, all you got to do is ask. Sometimes they'll just give it to you for what you got, and I don't really question it, but we're very grateful that Panavision hooked us up for Headless, the series we're premiering today, because it really was a shoestring budget for our camera department, and we got to use some incredible lenses and a really wonderful camera. So sometimes favors go a really long way, and it never hurts to ask.
And this is something that you kind of alluded to, the crew, the people that you have
Yeah.
on set, right? So if you do have some sort of a budget, where would you over-index? Who are the crew members that you're like, you know what? That's the first person I'm hiring, that's the second person. Maybe we'll start with you guys because you have a series coming up, but I'd love to hear from all of you. Who are the people that you're like, okay, I'm spending a little bit more on you?
Is this working? Yeah. We talked about this over our Tim Hortons this morning, and I asked Joe because he's, crew extraordinaire. What did we say? We said sound first.
Yeah, everyone always undervalues your production sound. So definitely spend a little money on sound, and especially for what we do with Shipwrecked, the art department, I feel like it can always use more of a budget. And more bodies, more people.
Everything we do is usually like period or very heightened. So yeah, the art department helps us make it look like it is not.
And food too,
No
because
money.
if you're asking people to work for lower than their rates, and you feed them well, that's that makes up for a lot.
Yeah.
So sound and food.
Yeah.
What would be
Sound and
number
food.
3? Let's get a top 3 going and see where they
Art.
line
I
up.
think
Yeah.
art is our third one, like production design.
Sound, food, art. Sound, food, art. Is it the same for you or is it different for you?
I was literally, just because you said sound, which is
Yeah, as we.
Speaking of
You
sound,
guys hear?
hello? Yeah, I was gonna go with food. I was gonna say food is huge, and for that exact reason.
So I want to talk a little bit about that as well. When you're actually making your projects, I'm curious, what part of that process is the most enjoyable for you? Like, what part of it do you feel like, I fucking love this, and this is why I'm doing this thing?
I love writing. It's horrible, but I love it. Like I always feel my best, and I feel like I feel like my most confident writing. Like I feel like I'm just in my own zone. And then casting is really high up for me. It feels like it's the first time often in a project where, because as you say, it's so collaborative, and like I think so often directors get all the credit as if they've made every decision that goes into the thing. Very rarely the case. In fact, almost never the case. And I think when you cast something, it's the first time you get to see someone else have ownership of the idea, and they're probably going to add another dimension of it that you've not kind of considered or thought of yourself. So I think casting is huge. I think it's a big part of it. And then I love being on set, but I'm never relaxed on set. Like I'm always like, I can feel every second slipping past. And then editing depends how well you've shot it. Like sometimes you get to an edit, treat. Other times you get to an edit, you're like, so that I've just described the entire process.
Yeah, that's great.
But it honestly depends on the project. But yeah, Sting, big for me.
I like being on the shoot itself. I think that's right, because it's all the same. You're constantly problem solving, like from the first second you started, like immediately from the idea, you're like, well, that part's not gonna probably work. I gotta fix that. But I think what I like about when you're on the shoot, it is like the time is moving in one direction, and you are making the thing. There's people who are asking you questions that have definitive answers because they have to that day. Whereas like, I feel like the writing and the editing, anything where you can like, it's maybe more meditative or more personal, like you're sitting with it more in your own head. My bad.
Everyone stare at the water bottle.
Sorry.
There we go. Back to the pen.
This is my new least favorite part of it.
I hate panels.
Yeah, I hate when you do the panel and you drop something. But yeah, I like the shoot because it's sort of there is less time to toil, and I'm bad at toiling. Will toil for too long. Yeah.
To sort of fund their next creative project, and maybe we're not talking about tens of thousands of dollars, but like to even get the next $5,000, like how would you sort of say, all right, try this, like what would you say to them?
For funding specifically? Okay, well, I think it becomes, sorry, hello, there we go. I think it becomes about where you can save money. I know that's kind of dodging the question almost, But I think a big thing I would say to people who are starting out is you use what you've got access to. Like it's like if you live next to a big forest, if you if your uncle has a cool sword, I don't know.
Stop just saying things
No,
about
keep
my
it.
life.
No, just let the list go.
You can't just
Look,
say
me and my uncle are making a sword film.
Give me more nouns.
I think it's almost like making use of what you do have and almost reverse engineering. Like, I think if you're really good at what you do and you've got confidence in yourself that like there's a good spark in there, like there's a good seed in there that you really believe in, then you should be able to set it anywhere. Like,
as well. No, that
Free.
was a dodge as well. I
Free.
will be the only one to answer the question. Honestly, if you want money, I don't know if you do this in Canada, but in the States, you can sell your plasma. And it's pretty valuable.
What's the going rate for plasma in the U.S.?
It depends on how much
It's like
you're willing
$20.
to give.
I have a private buyer. He's very strange, but
No, I've got to second what everyone said. I feel like money isn't how movies actually get made, especially on the indie level. It's like your in-kind services and goods. Everyone knows people with something. Like I made a feature film last year, 5 nights in a hotel room in Las Vegas, without telling the hotel we were making the movie, and it cost basically nothing. And it was still a SAG union production. We followed all the rules. We read the contract that we signed with the hotel. Nowhere did it say that you can't make a movie while you're staying in their hotel. But you can do this stuff. Just borrow, steal, whatever you can do, and you can. Figure out what your resources are and reverse engineer it. What's Sammy saying?
yeah, I would say too, because we keep talking a lot about like favors and friends and stuff, and if you're not like in the center of a group of people like we are, the reminder I would have is that I didn't like. It's not like in my neighborhood as a kid, I was surrounded by people who also were making movies and buying equipment. There's sort of a first step part of that for the favors, which is like, come here. If what you're saving your money for is to like show up somewhere where the other people are gonna want to make stuff, do that first, because then you're gonna make friends, and then that's when you get into the zone where you're like, well, that person has this thing, and that person has this thing. Oh, that person's friend made this bigger thing, and they might do us a favor. Like, I know it's like sort of it's an annoying long road, but that is sort of that's
Get
just
friends
great.
is the lesson.
Got a little Among Us tattoo. That'd be funny. Oh, class of nuclear. Are you with Troma? Yeah. How much is the Class of Nukem High box set? I didn't see a price on it.
That is a good question. Gwen, how much is the Class of Nukem High box set?
The Nukem High box set is $50. Does not have a sticker on it.
No, I didn't see it.
Have you heard of Troma Now?
No.
It's a streaming service. The first month it's free, so if you don't like it, you can just kick it. But you can have access to all these things.
Is that why you guys pulled the movies off YouTube?
Did they come down?
Yeah. There might be a couple left, but most of them are gone,
Oh shit.
which is sad. I watched Toxic Avenger and stuff on there, and I was so sad to see them go.
There's an app for your phone which is also free, so who knows? You can try it for a month, and yeah.
What's the price?
I think it's $5 a month after the first month. The first month is free.
$5 is bad.
Yeah.
I do know I love you guys. I've seen a lot of these movies.
Thanks, man. Very nice.
About years ago.
You actually work for like Troma, or are you just here for the event?
No, I work for them.
Okay. How's that? What's it like working for them?
It's fun. This is my first weekend, to be honest. I'm
Oh.
working.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I've still got a lot of learning to do.
I wanted all the dirt, you know?
It's very limited.
No, just kidding.
It's not as exciting.
No, no. Well, and Lloyd seems like a good guy from all like the interviews and stuff I've seen.
He really is. He's so charming. So easy to talk to. It's fun just to meet people. I just like chatting it up out here.
Actually, Troma's one of the reasons I got into filmmaking and stuff, so.
Well, good for you.
I don't win? Well, I hit the middle. That's not fair. I hit the middle and it bounced. Thank you. I just blocked the Pokemon cards. I didn't realize Genshin was so popular. I can't wait. Oh my god, it's Bike Talk.
He sent this message. Hype booth for you, Jordan. There's a sneaker booth.
Oh, where's that?
That's some stairs. Oh. No deal.
Oh!
Oh, I have a good feeling about Low right now.
You don't see this shit every day. This is the weirdest baseball game I've ever seen.
I'm glad we went to tonight. It's a really weird game. It started off horrible.